Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's good to be back with you guys. Had a nice long weekend. I hope a lot of you got out and got to see some good movies, spend some time with family. I got out and saw a couple good movies. I actually posted on the channel. I went and saw both Solo Mio and Crime 101 in almost the span of the same week. I just got done this afternoon at a matinee showing. I went and saw Goat, the new Sony Animation, Sony Pictures animated film. Um, and I'll talk about that one at length here soon. But that movie is really good. So if you're looking for something to go watch, I would suggest all three, along with, just getting out to go, see the world. So, but today I wanted to talk about Train Dreams. This is one that's streaming on Netflix. Currently, it's up for Oscar nominees for both Best Picture and I think it might be up for a couple more. I can't remember right now, but it is a Best Picture nominee that I watched just a little bit ago, like a week or so ago at this point. And I wanted to take some time to talk about Train Dreams because it's a really, really cool movie and I appreciate it a lot. So I wanted to spend some time talking about it. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. Um, in film news, right before we get into it, I don't think there's a lot um, that I can talk about. Um, I don't think there's any big news as of yet. We're kind of nearing the end of February, so that's exciting. We'll be heading right into spring, and there's a lot of movies that I'm looking forward to. Like I said, Goat was actually a surprise to me because I was really excited about the team that brought us, Spider Verse coming back to do this one, and it was really, really fun and a really cool concept, and the animation was awesome, of course. No surprise there. But getting right back into Train Dreams, um, I wrote down a little a little thought for this. I said having something and appreciating another is sometimes the hardest part of living. Train Dreams is a beautiful story and a deep look into the heart of humanity. The real struggle of man against his own nature, his need to wander um, around the world and wonder at the world, and the insatiable desire to go beyond home and the drive to go west, as it were. It is also about the healing of a heart after tragedy. This is a breathtaking, awe inspiring meditation on the human condition. This film is. Throughout the movie, I found myself getting teary, um, which is becoming easier and easier as I get older. I find myself tearing up at movies like this because it really makes you think about life, and that's what this movie does for you. It's set in a period in time where, the drive west and east from the West Coast was, you know, an insatiable desire, and the railways were that pathway west, and we kind of get to live through the heart and mind of a logger during that time, played by Joel Edgerton. His name is Granger. Um, and I wanted to talk a little bit about Joel Edgerton. He does a fantastic, fantastic job in this movie. You really do get very attached to Granger through his life story, and also Will Patton is the narrator in this movie, which doesn't hurt it at all because you kind of just feel like you're almost living in an audiobook in this movie that you kind of just get to see on screen, which is why I wanted to talk about, Train Dreams has a Golden Globe nomination film. Um, it did win Independent Spirit Awards for Best Feature and Best Director, Critics' Choice Award for Best Cinematography. It did not win Best Performance, but by a male actor in a motion picture drama. Joel Edgerton was up for that, but um, or did it win those? I don't think it won any Golden Globes. If I'm wrong about that, it was up for Best Performance by Male Actor in a Motion Picture Drama and Best Original Song. It did not win those, but it did win a couple of other Critic Choice Awards and Independent Spirit Awards, which I feel like are big deals. But this is just the rolling rivers and mountains and hillsides and of streams in this film that you kind of just get this like timberline that like is just a story in itself of just memories and a value of life's moments that you kind of get to feel like this movie is breathing a story in its own, along with the actual writing and directing of this movie. It's just a really well done piece and a rarity. Um, I feel like these types of movies are usually a hard sell because usually they are tragic and dramatic. Um, but this one didn't overplay too much of anything, and you really just felt like you're reading a book from the perspective of a logger. And of course, the cinematography, the Critics' Choice Awards, I couldn't disagree more. Like with the idea of it not winning cinematography, um, at like the Golden Globes at least. I know that I think it was One Battle After Another one. But I mean, I feel like both of these movies kind of had that moment there. But just cinematography. I'm glad that the Critics' Choice Awards gave it for cinematography because some of the shots in this movie are just breathtaking. They shot most of this movie throughout eastern Washington, with the majority of the production locations, including Toccoa, Spokane, Colville, and and I'm not gonna say this right, Snoqualmie. Uh, if key scenes including the logging camp were shot in Colville's Webley Lumber Yard around the historic Empire Theater in Toccoa. The production utilized these locations to replicate the earliest 20th century inland Northwest. Um, Personally, I have a little bit of an attachment to this film just because, the movie sets itself in Upper Idaho in Bonners Ferry, and um, I am an Idaho native. So this movie for me just felt great being set in Idaho and Montana and a little bit in Oregon and Washington, just because that's my home area in the Pacific Northwest and inland Northwest area. Um, but the really cool camera work. The story is extremely well done with Felicity Jones, Carrie Condon, William H. Macy. Of course, Will Patton and Joel Edgerton are the majority of who you spend your time with, but there are so many actors and actresses that bring us just, heartbreaking performances in this movie. It is just a really lived in dream and kind of life experience that you get to walk through with the characters, and you kind of just feel like you lived a whole life in the span of just a little over an hour or so of time. But there's fires and rains of throughout real existence, whether it's just human pain that you get to kind of experience or actual tragedies that hammer this movie home as something that really make you think about what's important in life. And um, I get to spend so much time just getting to know and love each character. So when tragedy strikes, it feels even worse, which kind of makes this movie work in a way because it's not like over and over and over again where it's like one person after the other. You kind of get to experience a tragedy and then life goes on and there's more movie and more story and then something else will happen. And I'm not going to give away any of the big plot points in this movie. I feel like it's something that you just need to go and watch on Netflix. But I would highly suggest Train Dreams as something to be watched because it is such a beautiful, beautiful movie. I mean, this movie had me in tears. It made me smile, and you really felt like you just breathed in like all of the moments, and you could almost just like smell the timber as you went throughout the movie. And there's so many cool like shots in this movie that I feel like this one could win uh, cinematography at the Oscars. I don't think it will. I don't also think it will get best picture. Unfortunately, it just has way too much competition. But I could be wrong, and I often am. But it's just a awe-inspiring cinema type movie that it's one of those movies that makes a case for why movies exist and why they are important to see on a big screen. I wish this one could get the Oscar treatment where it gets to go back in theaters, but I don't think it will. I wish it did, but um, it still works on a small TV, and you know even on a phone screen it works. But I personally am a purist where I feel like this is one of those ones that should get the big screen treatment. But that's just me. This movie is heartbreaking. It's beautiful. There's so many moments that you get to just kind of live in, and you kind of feel like whenever our hero Granger leaves home and he leaves Felicity Jones's character at home, you kind of feel like, will they ever come back together? What is going to happen? You kind of miss home with the actual characters, and that's something that's really special because you don't get that in a lot of movies where you kind of just get to really live in the moment with a character. It's kind of a rare thing that you kind of feel like, and then you really feel the pain of when something happens, and you kind of get that human feeling of like, oh man, like when in real life when something happens, you kind of get to feel that same gripping heartbreak and yet hope for a new day, in this movie. But not so much so that it's like you feel bad after watching it. It's actually kind of almost relaxing and cathartic to kind of move through the emotions and the moments in this movie, and just kind of also, like I said, the cinematography and the music in this one, along with the acting, really well done. They set it extremely well in a certain period in time, and you kind of just get to see, along with working crews of lumbermen go throughout time, you know people come and go, and then the industrial revolution kind of happens, and there's skyscrapers and things like that throughout the city that you get to kind of experience through the eyes of someone that started from timberlines into skylines of skyscrapers. It's kind of a cool idea that I feel like we don't get a lot, where we get to kind of see that movement um, in the time of a movie. But this is one of those ones that I feel like does a really good job of explaining what that might feel like to someone who started as like a camper, or like a um, settler, and then we kind of get to see what it kind of affected as the younger, more bold, ironclad, like steam engines and things and cars kind of made every work that they had done with the railroad kind of obsolete almost. It's a really, and you kind of feel for the characters as they like, was all this work just so that something better could come along and take everything else away? And you really feel the characters' pain and loss as they go through different things in different seasons. Uh, it's something that I really wanted to talk about, is just the experience of this movie. This is one of those movies that's not just a watch; it's more of a experience in and of itself. So I love this movie. Um, it's just a real existence of a lifestyle, and it's just kind of a tale of a lumberjack and his logging you know, his kind of just his story throughout life from beginning of a very young man to the inevitable end of this story. So, it is a heavy film. So if you're looking for something that's not going to make you feel your feelings, I wouldn't suggest this one. But you should be able to feel your feelings, and movies are supposed to be able to make you feel things. Whether it's just something like this that makes you really appreciate and think about life, or if it's something simpler that kind of just is, action packed or, filled with drama. It's just kind of experiencing the stories through the writing and through the actual characterization of these stories. And I feel like this is one of those movies that is a rarity in that kind. So, that's all I had to say. I'll see you guys real soon. And we'll just see about this one. I hope it wins more awards as we get closer to the Oscars, and I hope it does well there. But this is one of those ones that I just wanted to talk about because of how good it is. And so this video will go up, and you'll see it on Tuesday, but you'll get to see the video for Goat here soon. Um, Make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment. If you watch Train Dreams, let me know what you thought. Let me know what stuck out to you, what you loved about it, and all that good stuff. If you haven't seen it, go watch it on Netflix. It's really, really worth your time, and it's a good, good movie. And as a purist in cinema, I feel like it's, if you're looking for a reason to be like, why are they, why is everybody so passionate about cinema, as like a art, you know, just watch this movie and then you'll understand. It's really a good application of the art form. Also, feel free to go watch my other Golden Globe video from One Battle After Another. That one will be up here. You can go see that one. And but until next time, like, subscribe, love it, hate it. Just make sure you watch it. All right. Well, I think that's about it. Peace out, gang.